England faced New Zealand here in 2005. England met Ireland here in 2004 in a European final. But tonight, the stadium really is on the international map as Australia and New Zealand commence the 2011 Four Nations Series. Quickly through the teams, Australia unchanged from the meeting just a fortnight ago when they beat the Kiwis 42-6. That means that Darren Lockyer wins his 57th cap in the green and gold. And watch out for the flying Aku Uluwate, who marked his international debut with a couple of tries 2 weeks ago. Up front, the Kangaroos look as formidable as ever. Matt Scott wins his 5th cap, and all have come against the Kiwis. Anthony Watmoe on the international stage after a grand final winning year with Manly in the NRL. As did Tony Williams on the bench, his call up to the Test Arena crowned an unbelievable year for the 22-year-old. And Tim Sheens, the most experienced rugby league coach anywhere in the world. Well, there's just a couple of changes for the Kiwis, but none in the backs where Benji Marshall remains their inspiration. A big night ahead for the centres Brown and Beale. They had a torrid time of it against Australia 2 weeks ago. The change to the starting 13 comes in the front row. Ben Matulino plays at prop for the first time as both Russell Packer and Adam Blair are out suspended. Simon Mannering's winning his 28th cap after leading the New Zealand Warriors to the grand final in 2011. The other change comes on the bench. Wigan's Thomas Luluai has linked up with the squad now that they've arrived in the UK. He's winning his 28th cap, but only the 4th time he's come off the bench. And has there been a more successful coach for the Kiwis than Stephen Kearney? His World Cup win of 2008 and last year's Four Nations triumph tell you, probably not. Well, it's a cool, clear night here in Warrington. And it was tipping down with rain yesterday, but has been dry for much of the day today. A glorious, crisp autumn day. And these Aussies know that just 2 weeks ago in the sunshine at Newcastle, they beat the Kiwis 42 points to 6. Lockyer's 56th cap in the green and gold that night. That was a world record. His last start on home soil. But the reigning Four Nations champions, world champions, they need to make a good start tonight. The Australians haven't been behind at half-time in 26 test matches over the past 6 years. There he is, Darren Lockyer, Cameron Smith right behind him. Will Cameron Smith be leading the green and gold next year when Darren Lockyer has hung up his boots? The last time Australia trailed at the break, by the way, was in the 2005 Tri-Nations final at Elland Road, where we're heading on November the 19th. They were 16-0 down at half-time. The Kiwis went on to win 24-0 in the end. And Steve-O, it's just the sort of start that New Zealand need here tonight if they're to have any chance at all.
Without a doubt, and they were 26-0 down a fortnight ago. And if you allow the Australians plenty of room to move, they know that they've got the killer instinct in them. When you look at the fullback, Billy Slater's combination when he chimes into the three-quarter line with Darren Lockyer, the absolute master in the green and gold, and of course Jonathan Thurston, his halfback partner. New Zealand, of course, they showed little fire in their bellies a fortnight ago. That surely will change tonight. The pressure definitely on. Stephen Kearney was extremely disappointed by their performance. I suppose in many ways there'll be most of the English crowd, I would presume, that would be back in the Kiwis tonight. They normally do. Very rare they'll get on the side of the green and gold tonight, but there's plenty of Australians made it over from down under, and they'll be looking towards a convincing win. But as I say, New Zealand really have to get into the ribs of this Australian side. We know that Benji Marshall, Kieran Foran, good combination at halfback, but it's up front that is going to have the biggest problem. Ben Matulino, Isaac Luke and Sam McKendry. Can they really match it against the likes of Gallen, Smith and Scott? I doubt it. But if they do, we know that Benji Marshall, he's got all the tricks to make it difficult for the green and gold.
Well, New Zealand have just won 3 of their last 17 meetings against Australia, yet they have come in the major finals. 2005, the Tri-Nations. 2008, the World Cup. And last year, the Four Nations decider in Brisbane. First the national anthems, and first the national anthem of New Zealand. The New Zealand national anthem, and now the national anthem of Australia. Australia know that 2 years ago at Twickenham Stoop, these two opened the Four Nations with a 20-all draw. The Kiwis were denied a place in the final that year by England. So both of these teams know that they need a good start here tonight. Meeting New Zealand for the 122nd time. Australia have won 89, they've drawn 3, they've lost only 29 so far. And before we get underway, they have to face down the traditional haka that is always led by Benji Marshall and Isaac Luke for this New Zealand side. One of the great moments when the Kiwis are in action. And here they go. Always draws a great round of applause. It's always quite frightening, really. I'd sooner be performing it than standing on the opposite side of it, Phil.
Well, most sportsmen and nearly every rugby player I've ever met always tends to lift after a subpar performance. And the Kiwis know that they'll let themselves and the coach down when they last played. I suspect we'll see a much improved performance here tonight.
Phil Bentham is the match referee. Challenge Cup final, grand final. He was on duty in Newcastle 2 weeks ago, and it is Phil Bentham's 40th birthday tonight. So a fantastic way for him to celebrate. And I was chatting to him before the match, and I said, don't worry, Phil, life really does begin at 40. And let's hope he has a great game to mark his 40th.
Well, he did a good job of handling a fortnight ago, and I'm sure he'll give them plenty of space. But as we mentioned before, New Zealand realised they cannot to give Australia plenty of space to work their magic. Aaron Lockyer, Thurston and Slater, keep your eye on those three.
The 2011 Gillette Four Nations is well and truly underway. It's Australia in the green and gold against the Kiwis in the black. England and Wales will follow on tomorrow, of course. And over the course of the next 4 weeks, we'll find out which is the best team in the world in 2011. Cameron Smith is the dummy half, and the drive forward by the big second rower, Sam Thaiday. There's 2 defeats at international level for him. And this now is Anthony Watmoe, the loose forward. There's Big Sam. They played so well a fortnight ago in Newcastle. The drive-in by Paul Gallen, New South Wales skipper in the State of Origin series this year. That's the last tackle. It's a penalty here, and Mannering is penalised. Not letting go of the player, allowing him to play the ball. It was a right schmozzle.
He tried to pull away to the second row of Mannering, but got caught out. Phil Bentham, the official, was shouting release. He failed to do that. Say they cannot afford the Australians to take control early. Remember up in Newcastle 14 days ago when Australia raced to a 26-0 lead at half-time. It was all over. They can't afford to do that, the Kiwis, tonight.
Luke Lewis plays the ball to Cameron Smith. On the charge now comes Matt Scott, winning his 5th international cap for Australia. The Queenslander plays the ball to Cameron Smith again. Great running, Slater.
Good plan move.
Tackle.
Plan move there. Billy Slater coming on the angle, joining in. It looks like he's picked up an injury.
He has picked up an injury, threw himself to the ground there. But here is the prop forward. They're over for the first try. Matt Scott. What a start for Australia. Matt Scott with the opening try. His first try at test level for Matt Scott. The man from the North Queensland Cowboys. All 5 of his caps against New Zealand, regarded as the best prop in the world after a mighty State of Origin series this year. Matt Scott with the first try.
Well, the one thing that New Zealand didn't want was to concede a try early. Came from the penalty given by Simon Mannering. And you cannot afford to do that against the power, but this was quite simple. Look, just fended him away. Matalino, he just brushed him aside. Not the best defence there, I'm afraid. Couldn't get there in numbers, take nothing away from Matt Scott. He'll have enjoyed that.
He will indeed. First test try for Matt Scott, but ordinary defence again from New Zealand.
Well, you know, we all love to watch the haka, but I wonder how much it sometimes takes out of the players, Eddie. Emotionally, it's fantastic, but I watched Isaac Luke, how much effort he put into it. He didn't quite have the effort and strength to stop Matt Scott there at close range. You may say they're unrelated, but I do sometimes question whether they've recovered after the emotional display that they give.
Well, they scored their first try after 3 minutes in Newcastle 2 weeks ago. They have scored their first try here in Warrington after 2 minutes. A fortnight ago, Jonathan Thurston missed with his first conversion attempt. I don't think he's going to miss with this one. 6-0, the Kangaroos lead. Best possible start for Tim Sheens.
Certainly is. Matt Scott perhaps would feel somewhat embarrassed about the fact that he perhaps knew somebody a little bit more stronger, and he just brushed them away. Very easy indeed. He'll be happy, Tim Sheens, and why not?
27 seasons in the game, Tim Sheens, 645 games. He is the most experienced coach in the NRL. Penrith, Canberra, North Queensland Cowboys, West Tigers. Just 1 defeat in 12 with the Kangaroos. That was in last year's 4 Nations final for Tim Sheens. And off to another flying start here. They're ahead by 6 points to 0. Rod.
Well, we saw a little knock to Billy Slater, didn't we, in the build-up to that try, Eddie? There's no problem. The Aussie videos have given him the A-OK, given him the thumbs up, and I know a lot of the neutrals here were looking forward to seeing Billy Slater in the flesh. Well, looks like he's OK and he'll be fit to continue.
Watno almost stumbled into that tackle there from Ben Matalino. There is Billy Slater. Here is Jonathan Thurston. Here's the try scorer now, Matt Scott. And this is the last tackle here. No danger of the Kiwis conceding a penalty on that occasion. It goes up off the boot of Locke here. It's high, it's spinning. Locke is after it and he's knocked it forward, has he? Yes. Oh no, it's the turnover. It's the turnover, knocked on first by Sam Thaiday, says Phil Bentham.
Well, I think he's got that one right, Eddie. We've got to look at what the Aussies want to do in the first couple of sets. Cameron Smith playing a lot of tight balls in behind the ruck. See the kick. Well, it's judged to have come off. I think it's come off Kevin Locke, his fullback. What the Kangaroos are doing, Eddie, is they're punching in behind the ruck, trying to tie up these New Zealand forwards, or else Jonathan Thurston will turn one of the wide back rowers back in the middle, try and find some lazy defenders and get a quick play of the ball. It's got them down the field with ease in the first 2 occasions.
First time, really, that the Kiwis have had any chance at all of attacking this line.
And you can see the Australians getting out of the blocks very fast indeed.
Here's Benji Marshall, pops it up now to Jeremy Smith.
It's the tactics of Tim Sheens, has done for years. He loves the forwards to get away very quickly in and around the play the ball area, force the opposition down the middle. It's a high one from Marshall.
It is very high. Unuati has dropped it and the ball did not go backwards. The referee says that's a knock on. Akulo Uate making a bit of a porridge of this. Looks as though he went backwards.
Those are the type of things you need to happen and the ball to bounce in your favour, Eddie, if you want to challenge Australia. Errors inside their own half. They force one there now from Uate, and they need to convert this sort of possession at this end of the field here now. Get themselves a lift here now they've got their hands on the ball. Ex-Fijian
international is Uate. 2 tries for the Kangaroos on his debut 2 weeks ago. Winning his 2nd cap here tonight.
Well, Stephen Kearney will have noticed that, and there's no doubt in my mind that the Kiwis will certainly give him plenty to do tonight. Uati, the winger.
Kick it out, prop.
And a penalty at the scrum.
Wait, back up.
The referee, Phil Bentham, said kicking out with the by the prop, so it's a differential penalty at the scrum. You can't go for goal.
Imagine striking in the scrum.
The prop forward shouldn't. Didn't actually let the ball get in. Foran with a short ball. Now this is a chance, and a drive for the line by the centre, Lewis Brown. And Australia repel and push him back almost to the 10-metre line. Now then, it is Foran who pops it up to Matolino, who wants to try and muscle his way to the line, but he is turned and pushed back by 3 defenders. Isaac Luke dummied, gave it to Marshall. Marshall then gets it wide. That went backwards again. It's play on, says the referee. Jason Nightingale has it, gives it to Kevin Locke. He now finds Isaac Luke. Luke taking on Cameron Smith, coming off second best then. They're 15 metres away from the Australian line on this, the last tackle. Jeremy Smith gives it to Marshall. He dabs it with the outside of the boot, but that's far too deep, and that will run dead in goal.
Idea was good. Stephen Kearney will be pleased with that build-up. This is a scrum there, not allowed to strike. Not like the good old days. The second, that was a big hit, wasn't it there? Good work there by Manu.
It was a big hit. Sika Manu with that tackle. The Kiwis know they don't let Australia get off to the sort of start they enjoyed a fortnight ago. It's the 8th meeting between these two nations on British soil. The Aussies have won the first 5, then lost the 2005 Tri-Nations final, and that draw in London just a couple of years ago.
Much better defence by the Kiwis. It needed to be as well. It was a soft try that they allowed Scott to get over.
Cameron Smith with a left-footed kick into the corner. And that's a tremendous kick, absolutely tremendous. Kevin Locke's got work to do here. What a follow-up and a great run from Luke Lewis.
But just go back to that kick, Eddie. That's how the game of rugby league has changed in many ways. The hooker now, the number 9 for Australia, will make more of those tactical kicks than probably Lockyer or Thurston. And I tell you what, the accuracy of it, look at how he encouraged his teammates to chase it, because they know it's going to sit up him vitally in the corner.
It's Fai Loa who plays the ball there to Locke. New Zealand is trying to work the ball away from their own line. Difficult, that's the 4th tackle gone. They're only 22 metres away. But a good scampering run from Isaac Luke.
The difference between the two sides after only 9 minutes is that Australia are easily getting over the advantage line. New Zealand somewhat struggling in that department, though it's a good kick and chase.
Great kick it was by Marshall. What's the chase like? Not bad at all. The centre, Lewis Brown, pulling down Billy Slater before he could get up ahead of steam. 9.5 minutes gone. Australia 6-0 up in this opening match of the 2011 Four Nations contest. England-Wales to come tomorrow at Lee. Be able to see that match highlights with us on Sky Sports tomorrow night.
So important for the New Zealanders now to make sure that Australia do not get into the opposition half. And with defence like that, that certainly will help. Good work by the halfback Foran.
Yes, tremendous tackle on thigh day. Here's Watmough again. He goes down on the last, still inside their own half. Cameron Smith gives it to Lockyer, left-footed from Lockyer. Straight down the throat, though, of Kevin Locke. And the young Kiwi full-back will drive it forward. That was a touch high. The crowd gave a bit of an ooh and an ah, but the referee, Phil Bentham, unimpressed.
I think it was a bit more than a touch, Eddie, but it was high, that's for sure. But this is the first time, and there's the thigh going a little bit over the shoulders. It's the first time, really, that the return from the Kiwis have got into the Australian half. That'll boost their confidence. They can get a good kicking game away now.
Matulino will take it forward again for New Zealand. Sorry, that was McKendry, I beg your pardon. Here is Isaac Luke. Benji Marshall. Foran off the outside of the boot and high. Well claimed over on that far side. Brilliant piece of defence again from Billy Slater. Here goes Uati.
Not surprisingly, they went for that right defender. Uati. Remember, he came up with the error early in the game. Good tactics there by Stephen Kearney.
Well, I'll tell you what, Stephen, they'll have to be on their game, because if Akuyu Uati catches that and there's a bit of space in front of him, he's a very, very difficult man to stop. Tremendous game 2 weeks ago, scoring 2 tries, but it was his work from dummy half that was really noticeable. He had these New Zealand forwards reeling backwards all day. he'll be one they want to keep the ball away from, I would think.
Thurston to Luke Lewis. Toured with the 2003 Kangaroos. He didn't play at test level in that year. This is Lockyer. Over the top again and aiming for the corner. And Locke collects it, then passes infield to Nightingale, and further wide they go to Fai-Fai-Loa. Oh, and that's a flop. That's a bad flop by Sam Thaiday.
What a brilliant return of play, wasn't it? To switch the ball from one side of the field to the other, stretch the Australian defence, found some space, and as a result, you know, encouraged Thaiday to dive in late. I give them a penalty. They'll start here this set inside their opponent's half. Wonderful turnaround here, wasn't it? Kevin Locke started the season, in fact in April, was playing in for the Auckland Vulcans, Eddie, the second team for the New Zealand Warriors. Now finds himself at fullback for the test side.
It's encouraging to see that from New Zealand as well. The easiest thing in the world there is for Kevin Locke to take the ball up or and push, then pass it to Jason Nightingale, and he takes the tackle in the centre of the field. Well, they've showed some great confidence to spread that ball out to the left, and Khalifa Fai-Fai-Loa making a half break down that left edge.
Yes, he did. Here is Matalino again for the Kiwis. Plays the ball to Isaac Luke, but Luke going without it on that occasion, furious with himself. Adventurous stuff from inside their own 10-metre zone from the Kiwis, and then just a basic error really from Isaac Luke. No Nathan Feen tonight for Stephen Kearney.
He was disappointed. Kearney realises they were in a good position, good response. They got back over the Australian half.
Seeker, right on the
needed to apply the pressure. Bit of a let-off really by Australia.
Okay. Heads in.
So Thurston will feed the scrum. The crowd just a little bit quiet, although that early passage of play in this last 5 minutes or so from the Kiwis really got them to their feet for the first time. Adventurous stuff near their own line, but now they'll have to defend.
Move. Hold. Go. Hey, what's your feet in there?
Uati, feet flailing all over the place. Billy Slater loses the ball.
Well, he knows nothing better, does he? Just come on that very short blind side. Just trying to get the ball away, lost control. The man was involved into the tackle.
I think you blame Willie Tonga for not being up in position, really. He knew there was the space there, and he sort of got tempted to throw the pass, but Tonga not in position, not thinking perhaps as quickly as Slater.
Yeah, if I get that, mate, that's
fine. Error from Billy Slater gifts the New Zealanders this possession. It will be their head and feet at the scrum.
Go on, we need one more.
Is that the difference, you think, Brian? The best players just think quicker than their opponents. Everyone knew there was the space there, but Slater was able to think and react quicker than anybody else, in fact, quicker than his own teammates.
Well, I don't think Willie Tonga is a very, very good player. I think perhaps on that occasion, right, he wasn't up to Billy Slater's speed. But I think what you've seen from Australia is their execution and their ability on the ball. More times than not, they'll take it. Billy Slater will make that pass. Willie Tonga will score a try from the end of that. They convert those chances more often than any other team, and I guess that's what puts them top of the league.
Nice footwork from Jeremy Smith to get away from the flying Luke Lewis.
Yeah, took a gamble there. The second row, Lewis came out of the line, could have left a huge gap there. They got away with it.
Good defence from Thurston on Simon Mannering.
That should have been a penalty. Thurston all over the man, couldn't get up and play the ball. That's the one thing that the Kiwis have to improve on. They've got to really be a bit more adventurous at the play the ball area. They're keeping it alive though.
Brilliant. Oh, but in the end, the second out of the back pass by Ben Matalino just didn't come off. First one was fine, but the second one, that one, found the green and gold. Scampering run from Chris Lawrence. Here goes Lewis again.
Vast improvement by the New Zealanders in their defensive pattern. Really getting themselves organised. A little bit loose in the opening 5 minutes.
Darius Boyd here with it for Australia. Coming up on the last tackle here, just outside the 40. Thurston with the kick. It was taken a bit late then, I think, and I don't think it went down terribly well with Matt Scott.
Yeah, he's thrown a couple of punches way back in field, and well, we said they needed a little bit of fire and brimstone, and we certainly got it.
Well, it was Jeremy Smith that charged Thurston, and initially I didn't think there was much wrong with it, Eddie, to be honest with you. He launched himself in the air to try and block it. More times than not, you see the kicker get up after that. You know, it is a tough job for the kicker. They do get left on their behinds a few times, but Matt Scott, I think, has taken exception to it.
I think you'd have to say Jeremy Smith had actually launched himself. 50-50 call.
Launched himself in a dangerous way, though, I think, Mike. There's no attempt, is there, to make a tackle. He's turned his body and gone with his hip.
First impressions were, I didn't see the level
Phil
of the
Bentham
contact.
and
whether he just
James
bumped
Child.
into him.
Yeah, in my opinion, it was a bump, but it was committed to the challenge anyway.
Okay. You got anything different?
The challenge, mate? No, there's no punches or anything. It's just committed to the challenge. Like I said, it's against New Zealand.
For
I've not seen what's happened here.
for what?
For holding on to the player and the player.
There's more handbags than
Holding on to the
anything,
player
really.
and his penalty's down there, is it?
But it is an international, and
Yeah, just 1 second.
tempers easily frayed.
Well, he's trying to figure out, he's got word from his touch judge, the penalty against New Zealand. I can't see that penalty.
No, I don't think Phil
Okay,
Bentham can either, because he had a word with James Child and he said there was nothing
Okay,
in it.
we're going to take a late challenge there.
But he's
So
finally
he's taken
decided to
out.
give
It's
the
a
late challenge.
back there on the kicker. Okay, so the penalty's where the ball bounces. That's it here.
Now, would that be an automatic sin bin, Eddie?
Oh, look, that's okay. It's a test match, please.
I think he's committed himself.
That's not dangerous. It's not. He jumped in the air, try and block it, turn his body. Look, I think that's a harsh penalty against Jeremy Smith.
I'm with you
I'm
on
all
that.
for protecting kickers. I don't like any cheap stuff, but I don't think that was that of that occasion.
You're right, though, Phil. In the Super League, it might have been an automatic sin bin.
Well, it has
Late
to be.
challenge on the kicker.
Whether we agree with it or not, Brian, it has to be an automatic sin bin.
This is international, though. It's not the Super League, is it? We're basically playing Super League rules, by the way. But international rules slightly different. And Watmough is claiming there that that ball was stolen from him, two in the tackle.
Well, there certainly was two hanging around. Whether there was a fingertip in there, I'm not so sure.
Move! Hold!
Looks to me maybe that Isaac Luke had a lazy hand. Either way, the Kiwis, they've got the Australians offside.
I think the neutrals are on the side of the Kiwis tonight.
Well, they always are, to be fair.
Jeremy, come on. Let's have some
And you
care
can
in
see
there.
there that they snuck up out wide. Well seen by Phil Bentham.
Back up.
Well, it looked as though it was going to be easy. 2 minutes into the game, the big fella, Matt Scott, strolled over underneath the sticks, made it 6-0. But to be fair to the Kiwis, they really have
Go on.
upped the tempo.
Here goes McKendry again for them. His international debut came in last year's Four Nations final triumph. And McKendry gets to his feet eventually, unhappy with what was going on the deck. Marshall gives it some space, finds Foran. Foran then further wide, but the Australians muscling up well in defence once again. Foran now, and Matalino. Good drive from the prop forward. They're within 15 metres of the line here.
But again, look how slow they are to get up. Now, whether they're just trying to do that to get a penalty, I'm not right sure.
Good work by McKendry. Needed a good tackle.
And again, they're just holding them down, getting away with it.
Marshall's bullet pass was put down by Gerard Beale.
Hand over.
It's the turnover.
They had the
Instead of the
opportunity.
stuck, he was over.
Yeah, he had the opportunity. It really was a bullet pass, wasn't it? By Benji Marshall.
The referee said it was a forward pass anyway. I think even if it had stuck, he was going to actually deem that no try. If he's called a forward pass,
Hold. Go on.
even if he catches it, it's no try.
50-50, either way.
Move.
And if Phil Bentham
Wait.
said forward pass anyway, he would have disallowed the try had it been scored.
Okay.
Interesting to see how the coach Stephen Kearney will allow Benji Marshall to play. Now,
Hold.
several years ago, it'd be a man that would play off the cuff, just do and ask questions of the defence. Is more of an operator trying to force them around the goal. It looks as though there's problem for Darren Lockyer.
Well, they know, the New Zealanders, that they have to get very much into the face of Darren Lockyer, because he ran the show 2 weeks ago
Go 5.
after
Jeremy, stay out.
a nasty belt on the point of his jaw, having just come back from a jaw injury in the playoffs.
Well, they won't want to lose him as we see Cameron Smith's kick roll into touch. Phil mentioned the kicking from dummy half. he does it better than anybody else, really, and it's very, very difficult to defend against. If you're a winger or a centre back on that side, you're looking at Jonathan Thurston, you're looking at Darren Lockyer and wondering where the kick is going to come from, and you forget the fact that Cameron Smith's in there dummy half, hidden by the markers, just takes one step left or right and kicks the ball into the corners. It's a very, very dangerous weapon, and if you can have a hooker in your side that can kick, you have a third man to make people worry about, gives you an extra attacking weapon.
New Zealand scrum here, 10 metres from their own line. A lot of conversations being held by the players with the referee. It was Gallen who was leading the debate then, and Billy Slater, interestingly enough, packing in at loose forward. It was a big hit, attempted anyway, on Lewis Brown. Here's Isaac Luke. He gets the ball away, and it's Simon Mannering now, captain of the New Zealand Warriors, 2011, Foran and Sika Manu from the Melbourne Storm club.
Well,
Isaac Luke.
I must say that the referee Ben Thaler has been extremely lenient in allowing the Australians to hold down the Kiwis. It's really is amazing that he has not given away a penalty, because they really are holding them down.
Oh, the ball has come free. That was an important ankle tap then on Watmoe. Australia on the front foot again with Cameron Smith. He finds Jonathan Thurston. Thurston pops it up to Luke Lewis again. Good tackle required by Jeremy Smith.
This is where the ball comes free. It was a gift, wasn't it, for the loose forward Watmoe?
And substitute David Shillington is on. He'll play it here to Cameron Smith. Finds Jonathan Thurston. Thurston delaying and delaying, eventually slipping on the greasy surface. Thank goodness, says Benji Marshall. Smith has darted in a dummy half, going on his own. And Thurston is weighing up the options both ways here.
Now it's the Kiwis' turn, and just messing around. Being very lenient, Phil Bentham.
Lockyer again. Stabs the ball forward, but it's played up by the legs of Isaac Luke. And that's the zero tackle.
Opportunity there to regain possession, and Isaac Luke, the hooker, should have just dropped straight on it, but it ricocheted off his arm.
It's such a tough one, Steve-O. He sticks his foot out to block the kick. Do you let it go through to the fullback and anticipate him picking up? You play at the ball, not able to regain it, and you got to defend your line again. It's a tough call.
Very untidy around the play the ball area, I must say. And here is Thurston. Gets the pass away to Lewis. Needed a good tackle from Mannering, and it was. But 3 tackles gone. Australia camped on the line. Thurston with a dummy tries to get through. Jeremy Smith was alert to that, as was Mannering at the marker position. Here now is Cameron Smith again. Stabs it to the in-goal area. Slater was hunting, and the ball beat everybody.
Pretty solid defence as well from New Zealand. They're put under a lot of pressure there to turn around, and that's a good restart on the 20. Good play there, but you can see, I mean, that's got to be a penalty. Watmoe was never going to release the leg.
Straight back through the ruck. Clear the ruck area.
Well, there's a quick ball from Nightingale, and it was great work from Lewis Brown. Look at this, just hangs all over him.
Is it worth pointing out today that both of these sides, the players in these sides, aren't used to quick restarts in the competition they're playing? It's a slight variation. And in fact, Billy Slater tried to exploit it earlier, and Lewis Brown almost did exactly the same then. They seem to like it too. Both teams are set up for that quick restart to counter-attack.
Both sides, though, are really trying to slow down this play the ball, aren't they? They really are. Fui Moi Moi is on.
2, move! Wait!
Look at this, it's a real wrestle on the deck. And this is Isaac Luke now. Gets it away to Foran. And the runner is Kevin Locke. He's exciting, isn't he, this 22-year-old fullback from the New Zealand Warriors.
They claim that ball came out. It looked like he'd lost control of it, Kevin Locke, as he was hit in the tackle by Darren Lockyer and Aku Uate.
Jared Waria-Hargreaves here, spun to the ground by Anthony Watmoe. Here goes Jeremy Smith. Looks for the runner, that's Marshall. They come wide here, and there's a chance, a real chance for Gerard Beale. But again, the Aussies muscle up in defence once again. This is the last tackle. Mannering to Marshall. Marshall will hoist it wide. Finds only Sam Thaiday, and he'll begin the counter. Oh, it goes without it.
And that'll be play on. Oh, neat little kick.
Kevin Locke's injured and hurt. As Isaac Luke gets it away to Benji Marshall, tries to put the step on, gives it to Kieran Foran.
It's caught in the sand. sandwich, and it was a thick one too.
Luke again waits for the runners. Run of us Fui Moi Moi ran straight into Anthony Watmoe.
Getting a bit tetchy out there. Plenty of verbals from both sides.
Locke looks as though he's fully recovered. Gives it back to Jeremy Smith. Smith then, well, it was an attempted pass for Mannering, but instead it went straight to Jonathan Thurston.
I'm not so sure that Mannering realised it was going to be the short pass. He thought it was the dummy runner.
Back 10. Wait. Go.
Yeah, it was a real simple steal, wasn't it, from Jonathan Thurston? And again, this Australian defence, to get back in numbers, very strong indeed.
Been two occasions in 25 minutes when New Zealand have had possession in 6 plays, close, within sight of the Australian try line, but they haven't been able to find a way of breaking through it. And neither really have they troubled much of the Australian defence. They seem to be able to cope with it so far.
Here's Uarte again. This hugely exciting ex-Fijian. He helped Fiji, actually, into the 2008 World Cup semi-finals with his 5 tries. Now here he is in the green and gold of Australia. That's a poor kick, though, straight down the throat of Jason Nightingale.
Well, that's the third poor kick we've seen from the Australians. Tim Sheens will be far from impressed with that.
And a significant figure, Eddie's just come on the field for the Kangaroos. He's wearing the number 17 jersey, Tony Williams from Manly. He proved a handful for the Kiwis 2 weeks ago up in that test in New Zealand. Keep an eye on him today.
And he's a man mountain, isn't he? Let's hear from Rod on the sideline.
Well, Brian was talking about one substitution there, Eddie, but we're also seeing the sole Super League base player for the Kiwis, Thomas Luluai, on there. Look at him going into dummy half. It's been, what, 26, 27 minutes before Stephen Kearney's thrown him on. Let's see what Tommy Luluai can do out there with his recall to the Kiwi side.
His first pass found Marshall, whose kick forward found Billy Slater. And here now goes Darius Boyd for the green and gold. There's Thomas Luluai wearing 14 on his back tonight. Only the 4th time used as a substitute for New Zealand in the test arena. The Wigan hooker scrum half.
It's not a bad move, is it, by Stephen Kearney? He knows that he'll get a bit more zip in and around the play the ball area.
Will the Kiwis be getting any encouragement from this 6-0 scoreline? This stage 2 weeks ago, what, it was about 24-0, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely, they should do as well. They haven't been playing too bad.
Oh, it's a great ball, though, here to Darius Boyd. Luluai's in front of him in the end.
Good work by the winger Boyd as well. Realised it was going to be pushed over the whitewash going on the left-hand side. Good step, solid.
Nightingale was the man who brought him down. This time it's Simon Mannering in the tackle. And here is Cameron Smith, who finds Thurston, pops it up, looking for Darius Boyd.
That'll
That's
be
a knock
play on.
It is. It's 6 to go for the Australians. Thurston has it. That's the 0 tackle. Here's Cameron Smith. On the charge now comes Matt Scott. Cameron Smith is trying to work the magic from the dummy half roll and went to give it to Thurston, and it was a good job that Jeremy Smith had read the script there for the Kiwis. Thurston is waiting. Well, that's
well, he moved off the mark, and the official Phil Bentham says, oh, OK, let's get on with it. He's keeping it alive, but there's been so slow to play the ball area.
David Shillington on the ball for Australia. Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston. Here is Williams. Oh, he just bounced away from Marshall. And is he over the line? This could be the first decision for video referee Ben Thaler.
He had a tough time 2 weeks ago, Steve, didn't he? Benji Marshall, they targeted him on that right edge. And Tony Williams gone again at that occasion.
Has he got underneath him? That's the big question. They go low. Has Kevin Locke gone underneath? I don't think so. I think this will be given. Yeah, I think he's got control of that. The right fingers just slide down the football. It goes underneath. Locke really should have put his body on the line, but I think that looks... Ooh.
The only hope is that he's lost possession. It clearly hits the ground. Does Jeremy Smith punch it out before it hits the ground? His right hand.
Tell you what, this may be turned down. The video ref is Ben Thaler.
The ball certainly hit the ground. It's just a question of whether he's got downward pressure. And, well, Ben Thaler has had a look and has seen enough, and the try is given to Tony Williams. His second cap. Tonight he picks up his first international try. 22 years of age, It's crowned a remarkable year for him. Former Tongan international, this fella, Tony Williams, and he is one heck of a size as well from the Manly club.
Well, it's
premiers in Australia.
This was wonderful work, wasn't it? Beautiful play by the centre. I mentioned that Darius Boyd, he could have gone down that short left-hand side. There's a kick into the corner. Nightingale couldn't take control. It was back to 6-4. And they build up onto it. They get close, but he's too strong. Someone should have gone right underneath his body. They failed to do that.
He's a big human being, there's no doubt about that. Tony Williams. Here is Jonathan Thurston now to try and curl this ball over the top of the crossbar, and he does with consummate ease. 12-0 to Australia.
Well, he had the opportunity, the kick into the corner. Jason Nightingale couldn't do anything about it, and look at the strength on this man. You cannot afford to go high. His upper body strength is quite superb. It's bang, 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 and it's a TRY.
I'd probably say, Steve, you can't afford to go one out on it. You can't tackle him on your own on that occasion. I think they might need to look and give Benji Marshall a little bit of protection there on the edges. And if it's Tony Williams is lining up and running at Benji, his outside men or his inside men are going to go in and need to help him. That's just physics, the difference between the size of them. He's a huge man, Tony Williams.
He is, and he runs like the wind as well, doesn't he? I think the players are almost getting a little bit frustrated with what's going on in the ruck at the moment. It's quite a slow play, the ball, isn't it? In they go again here with Shillington.
But it's getting to that point where we've seen over many, many years that the Australians like to get the strike force. They'll kick down deep now, try to force the error.
Thurston, who was tackled late again then, this time by Jared Waria-Hargreaves. Waria-Hargreaves and Thurston just disentangling themselves back on the halfway line.
Great tackle, but suspicion that he was slightly late. Yeah.
He got there as quickly as he could, he'll tell you.
It's important now that the Kiwis strike back. They really have. They've got anything in the moves department. This is where they want to try it on. They cannot afford to be 12 points adrift, though it's a lot better than what it was a fortnight ago when they played Australia up in Newcastle. They were 26-0 down at half-time.
They were. The game has gone. The game hasn't gone here yet, but another try for Australia. It would be a difficult task once again for New Zealand. But here now is Gerard Beale.
Made the point, didn't we, that both Benji Marshall and Kieran Foran, well, that's a shocking kick. Got away with it, haven't gone out on the full. Just making the point, Teddy, that the two halfbacks, Marshall and Foran, they're taking first receiver, they're interspersing that. But I think it's time that we like to see a little bit of magic from Benji Marshall. We know he's got a great step. Ask a few questions of this Australian defence.
I think one of the biggest differences, Eddie, and it's very hard to measure, is the speed with which the defenders are moving up. It seems quicker for Australia on that occasion. No, maybe not with Sika Manu coming in. The referee said he's offside. But generally speaking, the likes of Luke Lewis, for a typical example, Anthony Watmore, have been moving up so quickly in defence and closing down the Kiwi players. And I'm not sure whether New Zealand have the same athletic speed to repetitively get forward and back as some of the Kangaroos.
Well, we saw the replay there of the second row of Sika Manu. When you do a thing like that, come out of the line, it really does put you on the back foot. Australia got 30-40 metres downfield. It's easy for the likes of Tim Sheens when they do that. He knows they're capable of putting up something.
Well, Tim Sheens will be quite happy the way it's going. He'll be even happier if they do get over for their third try here. Keith Galloway, 10 metres away from the line, will play the ball to Cameron Smith. Cameron Smith gives it to Big Sam Thaiday.
Well, Williams is lurking out wide. He's coming on that second phase. Thurston perhaps will be looking for him.
He'll come this way. Good hands. It's Galloway again. This time they hold him out, but you're right, Tony Williams is lined up down this left-hand side. They go the other way, though. Cameron Smith and Lockyer and Slater, and wide they go to Uarte. Oh, he slides and bounces and bobbles his way to the line, and he's got...
The flag's up, Eddie.
The flag is up in touch. I thought for a moment when the referee pointed the way he pointed, he'd given the try.
There it is. Yeah. The left boot just hits a whitewash.
Good
And
defence as well, to be fair to the Kiwis here. They don't know he's in touch, and Locke comes across and stops him from putting the ball down.
Great defence.
And Steve McNamara, Darryl Powell are there, and Jimmy Lowe's the England coaching triumvirate, the brains trust for England. And they, of course, have to face the Australians at Wembley next weekend in the double-header. Wales will take on New Zealand, 1 o'clock, and then England-Australia as International Rugby League makes its way back to the International Stadium.
We often say, Eddie, tries before half-time, how damaging they can be to teams. Looking at this scoreline now and the way New Zealand have played, contrasted with 2 weeks ago in that test match, I think they need to go in at half-time without conceding anymore. They've hung in and they've defended well after going behind to an early score. I think a try before half-time might make their job tonight a little too difficult. And they're going to have to do it at a time where Australia are lifting up. They got Shillington and they got Galloway on the field now. They've lifted it up a gear. New Zealand have got to live with them now for another 5.5 minutes.
Fui Moi played the ball there to Thomas Luluwai.
to be fair, both sides really are getting heavy in the department of defence.
Here's Marshall. Moi again, but grounded by Galloway.
He was waiting for that.
Solid tackling. Inside the 40-metre zone there. Luluwai with the kick. Darius Boyd takes over. Says to Billy Slater, leave it to me. Then gives Slater the pass. And Foran. Well, here's a penalty.
Grabbed the neck. Well, it was a good chase by the halfback Kieran Foran. And I'm afraid over the top of the shoulder was sufficient enough for Phil Bentham to say just a touch high. Yeah.
Kieran Foran just puts his hand up. Played in 3 different positions for New Zealand, but seems to be settled at halfback these days. Here is Williams on halfway.
He's so big they can utilise him as an extra forward, which they often do.
Back away, come on.
And don't be surprised if Australia get anywhere near, they'll go for an early kick.
Move. Hold.
Cameron Smith, 40 metres away.
3.
Pops the ball up there for Luke Lewis. He goes down in the tackle. That's tackle number 3. There's ominous signs here, though, for New Zealand as Williams breaks the line. Thurston's there. And has Thurston got the ball down? Well, he has eventually. He has eventually. And the try is given by Phil Bentham.
Well, the big fella just strode through, didn't he? Tony Williams.
Well, he's the danger man for the Australians, this substitute.
He's a huge man.
He's unstoppable.
Well, he was thinking about going on his own. He perhaps would have been able to crash over, but he did exactly the right thing. It was Thurston that came up with the try, and it was good support play back on the inside.
This is just what the New Zealanders did not want.
Well, you can see Thurston just sucked in, and he got it. He tried once, and the second time he gets it. See how he just sucks in Benji Marshall there? That is quality play by Jonathan Thurston. Didn't get it there, but he did then. Good positioning by Phil Bentham as well. Just sucks in the New Zealand skipper, Benji Marshall, and it's sufficient. He got it down once, and then, just to make sure, got it down twice.
Yeah, he got it down first time.
Yep.
No doubt that the try should have been given and was, but how do you stop this man mounting, this Tony Williams?
About 10 years ago, Australia had another man mounting called Willie Mason, who just used to charge down the left-hand side of the field, and it is very difficult, isn't it? I don't think we're giving enough credit, though, to the delayed pass to Tony Williams. OK, we're talking about his size, but I think the skill really was the thing that unlocked the defence more so than physically. He didn't just run over the opponent to begin with. It was the space he was put into by a brilliant pass.
And he actually was very unselfish, because it looked as though he could have scored himself, didn't it? But he passed the ball inside to this man. And so can he now improve his 4 and make it 6? Thurston with this kick. And this time he's just pulled it the wrong side of the posts. 16-0 though to Australia. It's a familiar story as far as the Kiwis are concerned in 2011.
All quality there by Jonathan Thurston.
10 metres, guys.
Just a hesitation there by Benji Marshall, left the gap. Nice effort to prevent that, but he did it once. Hit terra firma, made short on the second, but it was given on the first one.
And it all came about, remember, as a result of the penalty for the high tackle that the Kiwis conceded deep in Australian territory.
Well, that gave them the territory, Eddie, but they're going to have to sort out this edge defence. Benji Marshall on that occasion, we see this high tackle against Foran. If Benji Marshall on that occasion didn't give Ben Matalino enough credit, didn't think he'd be able to make the tackle on Thurston and put himself in a very, very bad position, and if he had got to Tony Williams, he was going to be disadvantaged anyway.
And you can see now that Australia, they're not bothering with the charges from the forwards. They're doing 2 drives and making sure there's the big one now. They'll probably get the link working. Lockyer wanting the football. Will he get it early? No, they're on the blind side. And Smith from the dummy half. What's the chase like? It's superb. Oh!
Yes, it is. There's nowhere for Kevin Locke to go. We're in the last minute of this first half. Referee has been very easy, though, hasn't he, on this play the ball situation.
Goal 2.
I don't mind, Eddie, if throughout this competition it stays that way.
Well,
it can be so confusing.
That's the $64,000 question, isn't it?
Yeah, but it can be so confusing for all the players, especially the ones that are watching.
Dominant.
You just think to yourself, well, was that a thump to the ground? And Foran would have felt that.
No way through for Locke. This will be the final play the ball of this first half. And Marshall's kick, the siren sounding in the background, goes high. Uarte has caught it on the fly. And the New Zealanders know that if you give that fellow a little bit of space, then you're in real trouble. They are anyway. New Zealand trailing here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium in Warrington. The opening shots of the 2011 Four Nations. It took Australia 2 minutes to hit the front. The try from Matt Scott, his first at international level. Tony Williams came off the bench and had an immediate impact when he scored the try on 28. And then that same man produced the final pass for Jonathan Thurston to score just before half.